Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Stephanie. In today's video, we're going to be talking about how to increase your breast milk supply. I think it's important to know how to be able to increase your breast milk supply in case you feel like you have a dip in your supply or like your supply is maybe decreasing. You can always bring it back up. A lot of people believe that once you dry up that you can no longer bring your breast milk supply up, and that is very false. You can actually completely relactate if you lose your milk supply completely. It just takes a lot of time and hard work and dedication. So if you're interested in knowing on how to increase your breast milk supply, just keep on watching. So tip number one is skin to skin. And what I mean by skin to skin is to take a few minutes a day and completely undress your baby, just leave him or her in a diaper, and then completely have your top off and just be topless and put your baby on top of yourself. That is gonna bring up your oxytocin levels and your prolactin levels, and that actually helps you release more milk. When moms give birth, they give you this thing called a golden hour, which is a whole hour right after giving birth where baby is completely naked in just a diaper and you are completely topless and the baby is on top of you. If you feel like you have a dip in supply, I think that's one of the very first things to do. When my milk supply was really low at the beginning, I was really struggling with keeping up with Leo. The very first thing that I started doing was a lot of skin to skin. And what I would do is usually either right at night before bedtime, he would get a bath, and then right before going to bed, I would just take at least 30 minutes and I would just be completely topless and I would grab him in his diaper and just put him on top of me. And no lie, you guys, as soon as I laid him on top of me, within maybe 5 seconds, my milk just started squirting out. And it was kind of crazy, but it really brings up your oxytocin and prolactin levels, which is what brings your milk up a lot. I found that doing skin to skin a lot really helped my milk supply, and it brought it back up, because at the beginning I really was struggling with my milk supply. Now I am a little bit of an oversupplier. Try to do at least 30 minutes of skin to skin a day, either right at night before going to bed or right in the morning when you wake up. So tip number 2 is hydrate. If you feel like you've had enough water, you probably hadn't had enough. Drink a lot of water. And I know it's a lot easier said than done, but just get like a big gallon and drink like 2 gallons a day. I mean, that's probably excessive, but breast milk is made up of almost all water. So the more water you drink, the more your body is going to produce. So definitely try to hydrate. You have to replenish yourself from the milk that comes out. Obviously, if you are breastfeeding and you have so much milk coming out, you're gonna get dehydrated. And so a lot of the times when you feel like you're not making enough milk or your milk supply is pretty low, you're probably just a little bit dehydrated. And so drinking water and replenishing yourself really does work. Another thing I was gonna say that honestly does increase your milk supply and it helps bring your milk supply back up. To drink a body armor. I drink at least 1 body armor a day. A lot of people swear by Gatorade, and it's the electrolytes in those drinks. Body armors actually have coconut water, and coconut water, I did notice that helped me bring my milk supply back up. So really just anything that hydrates you. Coconut water hydrates you really fast. And so the good thing about the body armors is that they have coconut water and electrolytes, which I think is what helps it bring your milk supply up. But a lot of people do swear by Gatorade. Definitely hydrate. I think that's one of the biggest things with producing milk, is that you have to be hydrated. Now, tip number 3 is to pump. I think pumping is really important, and it really does help you increase your milk supply a lot, because your milk is made on a supply and demand basis. So the more milk that you pull out, the more milk that you will make. So your body naturally will produce a certain amount of milk. And if the baby only eats 2 to 3 ounces every 3 hours or 2.5 hours, then your body's naturally gonna be like, okay, this is all baby needs, this is all I'm gonna make. If you start pumping right after feeding, your body's gonna go in overdrive and it's gonna be like, oh, baby needs more milk, so I need to make more milk. And so that's what I started doing with Leo. After every single feeding, I would pump at least 10 to 15 minutes, even if nothing came out, even if I only got just drops. And it was because I was telling my body to make more milk. The key is to make sure that your breasts are always empty. And the more that your breasts are empty, the more that your body's gonna fill them, because your body's gonna be like, oh, the boobs are empty, baby needs to eat, we need to make more milk. The other pumping tip that I have is to power pump. Power Pump is so good and it actually really works. If you do it consistently, at least one session a day for around 5 to 7 days in a row, you're gonna bring your milk supply up. I noticed it because by the end of the week of me power pumping, I had maybe an increase of about 2 ounces on each side. So I'm gonna insert a picture of what power pumping is. And so power pumping pretty much mimics cluster feeding or marathon eating, which is when a baby is constantly eating, and it usually happens at the early stages of birth, is when they constantly cluster feed and they're constantly always hungry. But power pumping mimics that. And so with power pumping, you pump 20 minutes, rest for 10, pump 10 minutes, rest for 10, and then pump 10 more minutes. I promise you it will honestly work. And there's so many people that swear by by power pumping because it really does work. And so if you do it at least once a day for 7 days in a row, you're gonna notice by the end of the week, you're gonna notice a huge increase in supply. What are you doing, buddy? You wanna say hi? Let's say hi. Now keep in mind that your breast milk supply is not going to rise from like pumping 1 ounce to all of a sudden you're pumping 6 ounces in a session overnight. It's just not possible. You have to be dedicated and you have to be consistent with it. And so the good thing about power pumping is that if you do it every single day, your body is going to naturally think that, hey, baby is eating more, baby needs more, so I need to make more. So yeah, guys, make sure you get yourself a really good pump that'll completely empty out your breast. I have the Medela Pump In Style and it's honestly amazing. It completely empties me out. Hey guys, so clearly it's a whole nother day. I ended up getting busy yesterday, so I couldn't finish filming. I finally got some time right now. Leo is currently taking his nap. So let's go ahead and move on. Tip number 4 is lactation cookies. I'm probably gonna put a picture of my favorite ones up here. They're by Kai Made Milk Cookies. It's a Hawaiian-based brand and their cookies are amazing. They honestly help my milk supply so much. You can honestly make your own lactation cookies at home if you don't wanna buy like a pre-made mix or if you don't wanna buy lactation cookies already made. There's a whole bunch of really good recipes on Pinterest, but to be honest, I didn't have the time to either make them or go hunt down all the ingredients to make the lactation cookies. Lactation cookies are just a whole bunch of ingredients that encourage your milk production and bring your milk production up higher. One of the main ingredients is brewer's yeast, I believe flax seeds, oats. A lot of people just swear by oatmeal, but oatmeal just didn't work for me. Like I could eat freaking 10 bowls of oatmeal a day and it didn't do nothing for my supply at all. It took about 3 days of eating them to actually see an increase in my supply, but I definitely do think that lactation cookies help you so much. Okay guys, and tip number 5, the final tip that I'm gonna do, probably the hardest one that I did myself, was to have a middle of the night pump. And what I mean by middle of the night pump is literally wake up in the middle of the night and pump. So your prolactin levels are at your highest, at their peak, at around midnight to 6 a.m. So it's when you make the most milk. And it's really hard to wake up for a middle of the night pump, especially when your baby has been sleeping through the night. Leo started sleeping through the night at around 5 weeks old. He goes to bed at 8:30 and he doesn't wake up until like 7:30 in the morning the next day, sometimes 8 o'clock. So it was so freaking hard for me to get up in the middle of the night to pump. And yes, I still wake up. I wake up every single day at 2:30, sometimes 3, just depending on the last time that I pumped right before going to bed was. But I will wake up and pump because that's when I make the most milk. I noticed that once I started pumping in the middle of the night again, it really brought my milk supply up immensely. Obviously, when Leo started slipping through the night, I started slipping through the night because I was freaking exhausted at the beginning. And then my milk supply started like slowly decreasing. Like I said, your milk supply is on a supply and demand basis. And so obviously if you completely stop pumping through the night or your baby just starts sleeping through the night and you no longer feed through the night, so your body's naturally gonna start decreasing in your milk. So definitely try to get a middle of the night pump in. I know it's so hard, you guys, but if you're really trying to increase your milk supply and if it's something that's really important to you, you have to be determined and you have to really try hard. So definitely try to get a middle of the night pump in. You're seriously going to see an increase in supply, especially if your baby has been sleeping through the night and you no longer feed through the night. And once again, you guys, before I let you guys go, I just wanted to let you know I am not a lactation consultant. I am not a medical professional. These are just the things that worked for me and that helped me increase my milk supply. So I hope that they'll be able to help you guys. If you're struggling with your milk supply, definitely try one of these things out and see what works with you and what doesn't work with your body, and listen to your body. But yeah, guys, that's about it for today's video. I definitely hope that some of these tips help some of you guys out if you're struggling with your milk supply or if you're just interested in knowing how to increase your milk supply. I'm probably gonna have a whole separate video on supplements that I take to increase your milk supply, because I do take a few different supplements. Stay tuned for that video. And thank you guys so much for watching today. Leave me comments, questions down below, and like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye.